welcome to another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Papergoy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
So, Mr. Magazine, I have a question for you.
You always do.
Yeah, well, we better. Otherwise, it would be really boring videos.
Very boring.
We'll stare at each other for an hour.
Okay.
So recently, you went on a buy that turned out not to be a buy out in Washington, and you went out there and you took a look at a collection. You hung out with mysterious benefactor. Had some good times. Like a little mini vacation, working mini vacation.
Sure. Yeah.
You left on a Thursday, is that right?
Yep.
And you came back on a late Saturday night?
Yep.
I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Why did you not stay till Sunday?
That is a good question. Well,
Thank you.
I think Mysterious Benefactor was going to see his mother.
Oh, okay. You don't want to see his mom?
You
don't like his mom. All right, breaking news.
I think she's like 2 hours away. And
breaking news. Mr. Magazine hates Mysterious Benefactor's mother.
Oh, I was talking about my mom. No, I'm just kidding.
No, and the reason I brought that up is it's raising a question in my head when I'm heading on into retirement. I spend a lot of hours on selling online. You're aware of that.
Sure.
But I don't need the money from it because I have the day job. So the question that was in my head is, am I just dabbling in selling online?
Like right now, are you dabbling?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the level you're doing that would be dabbling, because you're really doing it at the minimum part-time, which is you're probably doing it full-time, I would say. If you didn't have your day job, and you put the hours into your dabbling job, it would be 40 hours or more, I'm sure. So I certainly wouldn't call it dabbling.
Well, but the reason
working for me is dabbling.
Well, the reason I'm asking is I'm going to Allentown Paper Show. I'm going to go to Springfield, Ohio for the Antique Show. I go to Madison Bachville for that show. Honestly, when I take a look at the numbers on it, when you include in the mileage and the time, especially when you include in the time and all that,
yeah, they're
really not wise business decisions.
Well, I agree with you. And it's probably why I don't do those type of trips, And in my head, maybe that's why it wasn't money. Wasn't the reason I came home Sunday, but more like I got to get back to my business because I'm gone 3 days. It doesn't seem like a lot, but who knows? There could be 3 days of problems that I'm, got to walk into, and I missed this deal and that customer. So sometimes I want to get back, just to get caught up on things. Then Monday's a normal day instead of being behind the 8 ball on Monday.
Right. Yeah. So I guess my question, and I don't know, is, after I retire, granted I do have a state pension, so that's nice, but I will have less income coming in. Do I cut those trips out, or do I continue to do those trips even though those may not be financially the best trips for me? I mean, I don't lose money when I do them.
Yeah, I mean, I would say do them to a certain extent. So if there's 3 different ones and one, I don't love this one, it's never anything good, weed that one out. If there's one that even you don't buy a lot, but you enjoy going to that area, or there's people maybe stick with that one. But if there's nothing else going on and you want to do that and make mini trips out of it, so be it. But eventually, the more you get your name out there, the more buys you're getting, the more people you're connecting with. You might end up like me, where I don't have to do those because, Aaron was just in New Jersey today picking up a done deal for me, 6,000 pieces. So you might be at that point where, maybe you do the driving until you get an employee, but hey, you go to New Jersey, it's a guaranteed deal. So you'd rather have something like that Joe Schmo, you worked out a deal, he wanted 4,000, you give him 3,500, it's done. You know what you're getting, you know what you're paying, you're not going to lose any time or money out of it. So you know what the expenses are. We're going to a show 2 hours away, or for the weekend, you spend 300, you might make 1,000, but then your expenses could be 1,000. Is that really worth it?
Right. But I guess the other side of that is it can almost be a mini vacation as well.
Right.
Because you're
pick and choose, like the ones you really like. If there's 3 or 4 or 5, take the top 2 or 3, and then the ones you're growing out of, cancel them out.
Yeah, that's because again, I sit there and I look, and I am fairly certain that one thing that works against me is I'm not a huge fan of driving. I'm really not. I don't enjoy driving a lot.
You and me both.
But certainly I know that if I enjoy driving, that I'm pretty sure most weekends I could find a show to go to.
Right.
And it's a legitimate expense. I could see the country making deals, seeing the country, and even if I don't end up making any money, getting all my vacations paid for. You know what I mean? That kind of deal.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I don't know if I've ever told this on air or not, but there is a competitor of mine who goes to various state sales, and I kind of slipped into his DMs. And I text him every once in a while, and he's telling me about various shows that he goes to, or various estate sales that he goes to, and I go, yeah, wait, when I retire, maybe I can go with you. He goes, oh, that'd be great. I'd love to have somebody riding with me. So, and he drives up to Boston.
Oh, nice.
He, goes around, if it looks to be a very, very promising sale, he just goes wherever. So I'm sure, once or twice a year, I could have that if I decided that I wanted to, just say, he contacts me and says, hey, there's this great, what do you think of this thing up in Rhode Island? Right. And I ride with him up to Rhode Island, buy him lunch, pay half for the gas, and we're both happy, and do that kind of deal, but just as a getaway kind of deal.
If there's certain areas you never visit, hey, I want to go to Tennessee, or I want to go to Virginia, whatever, why not kill two birds with one stone and expense it?
Right, yeah, because obviously it would be a legitimate expense on that over there because I'm going there. And also, you never know what you might buy,
right.
As far as that goes as well. But from a financial standpoint, those may not be the wisest decisions. So I guess what I'm learning is I'm in a sweet spot where I don't have to have the money. Right. If I went and, not that Whatnot pays me a lot of money, but there are people out there I know that are having Whatnot auctions regularly, Facebook auctions regularly, because that's a big source of their income.
Right.
And if I suddenly said I'm not going to do Whatnot until July, it's not going to affect me in any particular way other than I'd have to rebuild when I came back there.
Sure.
So I guess that's an advantage that I have that I realize that I have currently. Right. But then the question is, when I go into retirement, do I still have that advantage?
Well, that's the option you got to look at, because do you need the money or want the money? Because if you think about, okay, I'm gone for 3 days now, I'm going to Boston. Expenses are going to be $1,000. Say I spend another $1,000, I spend $2,000. Maybe I can make $1,000 or $2,000 profit, or I stay home all weekend and do 2 Whatnots, 2 Facebooks, and list on eBay for 2 days straight, where you're probably could potentially put on $10,000 worth of stuff.
Right.
So maybe that's not as fun. It's driving into Boston, but you want fun, you want money, or do you want a little of each, which would be the Whatnot Facebook, something like that. So.
Right. Or maybe one of those deals that I do it once a year with the guy. I go, yeah, all right, that sale looks really, really good. Yeah, we'll ride to Michigan together. That sounds cool.
Yeah. Right.
Once a year do that. Or just check an area out, like, oh yeah, it looks like a good show up in Canada. Yeah, okay, we'll try that out.
Yeah, because for me, I would say, hey, do I want to do Whatnot, or do I want to drive my car off a cliff? Like, see what's more fun for me,
Right.
Sure.
And I think everybody out there would vote for you driving off a cliff. I know I'm in. For voting for you to do it. I'm not in the car.
Oh, right. Oh, you don't want to Thelma and Louise it?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for asking, though. I do appreciate that.
You didn't see that one coming.
So do comment down below if you could. Just on that, again, I realize that currently with the day job, I'm in a good spot as far as that goes. The downside, I have a day job with the state, with state management. So yeah, there is some downside to it also. But then I'm not financially hurting at this moment in any way at all. But again, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Well, and that raises another question: will I change my thoughts as time goes on? Because I do get a pension, and it does potentially get some cost of living adjustments, but not nearly enough to keep up with inflation.
Right.
So it could be one of those things that I retire, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm doing okay. In 5, 7, 10 years from now, I mean, how many people do you see that think they're doing okay, and then all of a sudden go back to work in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, something like that? Yeah, they're outliving their savings, or they're they just don't have the extra money to put the roof on that they wanted to put on, or whatever the case happens to be. Yeah. And the benefit of doing the job that we do as far as online goes is, I mean, the downside is versus a 9-to-5 or a part-time job is, if I go to a part-time job, I know I'm getting paid at the end of the day.
Right.
That's the advantage. eBay, I could sit there and I could grab 5 boxes out of my garage and list 200 items today, and I may not get paid for years, potentially. Hopefully, I have better stuff than that in the garage.
Yeah, right.
But That's the downside of that over there as well. So it's a lot of questions heading on forward. I just kind of wanted to put that out there, see what you thought, see what the proper balance was between vacation trips, big vacation business trips, or not doing them, again, if they're not profitable or not. So
right.
A lot of food for thought. I'm sure that as the journey continues, I'm sure we'll be touching on this more and more often. Should be kind of interesting going forward. Do hit the like button, and we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.